Okay, so you saw how to solve or use bendy axis to solve problems where the blocks are vertical or the blocks are moving horizontally. Now let us take a case like this, because obviously that's not the only case you're going to face, right? So you're going to look at cases where the block is on an inclined plane. So that means this block is going to come down like this, right? And that block is also going to come along, let us say, this way. Now we have to check whether it's going to move this way or move that way. We will learn how to solve this problem. But before we get here, let us look at this question. I have here two blocks on an inclined plane. I'm going to assume right now we have no friction. We'll come back and look at questions which have friction. Okay, so let's assume there is no friction. How will I solve this problem? Okay, now the force, gravitational force is downwards. Okay, you already know how to solve a problem like this. Suppose I had a block like that, right? Now you know that mg is going to act down. So if I call this force mg, and let's say this angle was theta, usually what do? You resolve this force like this and like that. Let us look at the angles. So if I try to think of a right angle triangle here, can you just complete it? You can see that there's a right angle triangle. How much will this angle be? Well, if this is theta 90, this must be 90 minus theta. And so if I try to take a perpendicular like this, I can take it here, I can take it there, doesn't matter. So if I draw the perpendicular, if this angle is 90 minus theta, what should that angle be? Theta. So this angle is going to be theta. Right? This is one way to think about it. And then of course you can say mg cos theta will be in this direction and mg sin theta in that direction. But let us just come back to it. This is something you're going to face many times, so it's useful to do it once carefully. If you see, I have here this line, this red one is basically, what about the blue one? That is horizontal. And what about the red one? Along the inclined plane, right? Now, if I turn this around, if this angle is theta, as I make this dance, will the angle change? However I turn, because if this turns by some angle, that also turns by the same angle. So this angle remains the same, that much is clear. Okay, so now if I keep it like this, how do I make a horizontal line into a vertical line like mg, turn it by 90 degrees? But if I turn this fellow by 90 degrees, what happened to the one that was along the plane? It has become perpendicular to the plane. Perpendicular to the plane is called normal. So that means the angle between this and that must be theta. That's all I've written. Do you see? One is to just do it visually, saying this thing has just simply turned like that. If you don't like it, you can go ahead always and say theta 90, 90 minus theta, therefore theta. I will suggest spend some time, figure that out carefully. And once you know it, then you can say this resolved like this and like that. mg cos theta will be in this direction. And the component along the incline is mg sin theta. Now I am sure most of you already know this, right? So whenever you have this block, you know that you can do this as mg sin theta and that as mg cos theta. Just remember, this will work very well when the inclined plane itself is not moving. When you have moving wedges, that means when the inclined plane starts moving, okay, for example here, this is a fixed wedge. Suppose this was a moving wedge, then resolving it like this and like that can sometimes lead you to danger. Okay, this is okay, there is nothing wrong with it. Now if you're looking at the normal force is going to act like this. And often what happens is, people assume normal force is mg cos theta. It may be mg cos theta, may not be mg cos theta. Okay, so normal force, in this case, if there was no other force acting on it, it is mg cos theta. Why? Because the net force in this direction, n minus mg cos theta, is 0. So therefore you can conclude that it must be mg cos theta. But if I was exerting a force like that, then this force also has components. So n is not equal to mg cos theta. But you don't need it right now. All I'm saying is that the mg can be resolved as mg sin theta, mg cos theta. Is that okay? So when we solve problems, instead of writing mg and then figuring it out, it's a faster way to just simply write this as mg cos theta and mg sin theta. Sorry, this as mg sin theta and that as mg cos theta. So if I take this question, what should this force be? 2 into g, because mass is 2. So this must be how much? 20. So we are going to take g is 10 meters per second square. So this is 20. So this must be 20 sine 30. Sine 30 is half. So 20 sine 30 will give me 10 newtons. Do you see why? Because I've got 20 newtons sine 30. Now I don't need to think too hard about it, because if I know this angle is theta, this must be mg sine theta. If you remember it, you can use it. This is 20 sine 30 degrees, which is 10. Is there another force like this? Yes. How much is that force? This will be 20 cos 30. I won't calculate it. Cos 30 is root 3 by 2. So there will be 10 root 3. But then there's also, of course, a normal force like this, which I don't know the value of. Right now, it will turn out that it will become equal to this in this problem. Let's call that N1. Then you also have this force which is T, and then you have a force like that which is T. But then apart from that, there is also 50 newtons down, right? Because 5 into 10. So 50 cos 30 will be that way, 50 sine 30 will be this way. What is sine 30? Half. So what is 50 times sine 30? That will be 25 newtons. So this force is going to be 25 newtons. Then of course there is a 1 Newton force in that direction. There is also a force which is 50 cos 30 degrees, and then there is a force N2, right? Now if you see, I'm not going to use lots of these forces. What do I want? I want its motion in this direction. And so like we did for horizontal planes, objects moving together, are they both going to move together? This is going to have an acceleration A, that's going to have an acceleration A, correct? In this direction, because you can see this is 10, 8, 1, 25, so it's definitely going to move down. And there is no friction. I can treat this as if it is one big block. And since I want only acceleration in this direction, vertical forces, well no, I shouldn't call it vertical because it's not vertical, perpendicular forces do not affect this direction. You see, I'm not using bendy axis or anything yet, but the same principle will work everywhere. Okay, so all I'm saying is that in this direction, whatever you're doing is not affected by forces in that direction. So in this direction, what are my forces? What is my net force? What is my net object? If you think of this big object, what mass does it have? It has 7 kg, 2 kg plus 5 kg. In this direction, how much? 1 Newton. In this direction, what is the net force? Well, all the forces. So think of it as 8, 10, but apart from 8 and 10, you also have 25, no? The 25 acts on one portion of it, which is the 5 kg. It doesn't matter, so put that 25. So all these are forces in this direction. Wait a minute, how come I didn't write T? Because this T and that T will cancel, because they are internal forces, okay? Okay, so if I now look at this force, net force, how much do I get? 8 plus 10, 18, minus 1, 17, 17 plus 25. So in this direction, what is the net force? It is 25, 10, 35, 35 plus 7 is going to give me 42, right? You can add it however you want. It is 42 newtons this way. Okay, so then what is the acceleration? A is net force by mass. Okay, so mass is 7 kg. So this is 42 by 7 or 6 meters per second square. Okay, so this gives you the acceleration of the 7 kg block. Of course, the acceleration of the 2 kg block is the same. Acceleration of the 5 kg block is the same. So what do you do when you have a problem where the objects are on an inclined plane? You can just forget all this. Now you have to check. Now I'm assuming that this is a nice, well-behaved problem. For example, if somebody was pulling this way, you can't forget N1 because this guy will start to move out. If you are sure that in this case this fellow is going to go down, and I don't want to calculate N1 and N2, ignore all this. You can just bundle this whole thing up. Look at the component this way, which is 10 newtons, 8 newtons, 25 newtons. And so 10, 8, 25 is 43 minus 1, 42. 42 divided by 7 kg. And so that gives me the answer 6 meters per second square. If you don't like this, you can write two equations. You can say 8 plus 10 minus T is 2 times A. You can write it like this. 8 plus 10 minus T is 2 times A. And then you can say in this direction, T plus 25, because T is this way and 25 is this way, minus 1 must be equal to 5A. How do I know the accelerations are same? Well, they are connected by the rope. So unless this is moving faster, And with some friction questions, you'll have to worry about whether this is going to move faster. It will turn out that if you did this calculation, t is a positive number, and that is important. If t is a positive number, that means it's pulling, they are moving together. If t turns out to be a negative number, then they are not moving together. This is probably moving faster. Anyway, not for this question. So if I try to add this up, you'll get the t cancelling out. And what will happen when you get here? You will get 42 is 7a, and so you'll get a is 6. So this is the more normal way of doing the question, right? I'm just saying you can bundle the block together, but that's something that you have been doing anyway. Now the key point is, can I apply the same approach to this problem? And you can. So how do you do it? So what do you do there? So basically, what is this force? 3 mg. So if I take this 3 mg, let me in fact draw it with a different color. So this is 3 mg, and I'm going to resolve this 3 mg into this direction and that direction. And in this direction, what is the force? 3 mg sine 37. 3 mg sine 37. Now sine 37 is 3 by 5. Okay, that's a good thing to remember. So this is 3 mg into 3 by 5. 3 by 5 is 0.6. So if I multiply, I'll get 1.8 mg. Okay, so this is 1.8 mg in this direction. You also have a component in that direction, but I don't care about all this. Because you see, I'm going to claim that this is my bendy axis. Right? My axis, I'm going to take like this. So if I say this is my bendy axis, I'm going to treat this as the positive direction. This direction it's moving in. So I'm going to say this is the acceleration A. You know that this acceleration is A. The directions are not the same, but in the bendy axis they are the same direction. And what is my positive direction? This is my positive direction. That is my positive direction. This is my negative direction. Here this is the negative direction. So if you take this t is in the negative direction. If you take this fellow, this mg is in the negative direction. There t is in the positive direction. And all these forces that the rope exerts, or the pulley exerts on the rope, they are all perpendicular, and you know that perpendicular forces don't matter. Perpendicular forces didn't affect it here. These perpendicular forces will not affect it for this bendy axis. Okay, so given that, so this t is in the negative direction, that t is in the positive direction, they'll cancel. So we don't count internal forces. So if I took it like this, what is the net force in this direction? So my bendy axis is like that, right? So what is my net force in this direction? Net force by total mass, right? That's what we want, because it's going to move both together. This is 1.8 mg minus mg by the total mass. Well, this is 3m and that is m. So that means you want 4m. That is the total mass. Because this extra force, this is 1.8, that is m. If you straighten it out, you can see that 1.8 is pulling like this, mg is pulling like that. So net force is 0.8 mg. But that 0.8 mg has to drag both together. It's not just going to pull 3m. How come this 1.8 acts only on the 3m? Correct, but then there is a t here, right? So this is the t which ensures that this guy goes at the same acceleration as that fellow. That is the t which ensures that this fellow goes at the same acceleration as that fellow. Okay. So anyway, we don't need the t anymore. So if I look at this entire thing, 1.8 minus mg by 4m. So we can calculate. This is 0.8 mg by 4m. And if I do this is 0.2 g. G is 10, right? So therefore this is 0.2 into 10, 2 meters per second square. So I hope you understood how we calculate questions or we solve questions which involves a fixed wedge. This is fixed, and that's important, okay? This is a fixed inclined wedge, and these are massless ropes and a smooth pulley. All that is assumed, and there's no friction right now. You can then calculate questions like this, okay, with fixed pulleys and fixed wedges. So the best way, as always, is to try out a bunch of questions. So once you solve a few questions, you will get a much clearer picture.